All right, welcome inside the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck for the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. It's our first episode of 2023, as the Bobcats will be staying in a hotel for the first time since St. Cloud, first week of November. 2 months in between long road trips. Bobcats will be in Iowa to take on the North Iowa Bulls for 2 games before coming back home for 2 home games on January 13th and 14th. BismarckBobcats.com for tickets. Bobcats and Bulls coming up in the following weekend. This weekend, Bobcats are on the road. Layne Sedevie joining us on the Coaches Show. Hunter Laslo will wrap up the show. And in between, Jake McLean and Calvin Hanson, two of the better Bobcat forwards in last week's series with Minot. Layne, I've heard Secret Santa's going on, even though Christmas was a week ago. But apparently half the team forgot their gifts today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably part of the normal. I don't even have a gift yet, so I usually give away something pretty good in the past, and haven't figured out what I'm going to give my guy yet. Usually it's a piece of memorabilia, so I don't know yet. I've given away a couple NHL jerseys, and we'll see.
I was going to say, you are known for being the guy that everyone wants to get because you're going to get a big-ticket item through one of your connections. It was a Matthews jersey signed last year.
Yeah, I think before that it was a Dubnyk jersey. Before that it was Beats. Yeah, so, can't say who I got, but hopefully, I could find something. I went downstairs and looked through some stuff, and, it's part of, I think when you're a player, you're around guys, and, a lot of the so-called gag gifts, a lot of them are, stuff that happens through the year, and quite frankly, just, I don't know, I switched and started going to giving guys something cool, something they could use, something they'd really, really appreciate. And, I don't I would say, I know everybody would say the Matthews jersey is the coolest thing that probably I've given away. I don't know. I have Bobcat jerseys in my basement, and not really a Toronto fan. So, but we'll see. Got to find something.
You ever give away something like completely practical, like a toilet plunger or something?
I don't think I have. And the guy I got is probably, I think, one of the best teammates on our team. So I definitely can't do that this year. And the only thing I will say is he is a rookie. But that's all the clues I'm giving away.
Okay. Jake McLean's going to be coming on pretty soon. He's Canadian. He told me today he fully intends on watching World Juniors during the Coaches Show and hoping Connor Bedard drops like 10 points on the U.S. in the semifinal today. But you told me, and I'm in the same boat, we've really not taken in any World Juniors this year, aside from Lars Lipsky's and the Latvian team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't watch it much anymore. I get updates through obviously Byron, who is, very vested, I would say, with, Canada and those guys. They love to give you the gears when they win, and when they lose, they're just in a mental state that they can't come back from. So I don't get that vested. I just it is what it is, and obviously hope USA wins, and hope Canada cries in their beers. That's all I can say.
Did you go when it was in Grand Forks 20 years ago?
No.
So you didn't really grow up on this event?
No. I mean, I think it's, I watch highlights, and obviously highlights of the NHL every day, usually before practice and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, the big part is I watch enough hockey, Corey, within our league and that sort of stuff. So the main thing I really focus on is playoff hockey, because that's when everything gets good.
You've bragged about watching no hockey during your breaks, though, your weeks off here.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Yet you still watch a ton.
Yeah, I mean, you see enough, whether it's even, to go over film, whatever it is. You just, it's personally, it's nice to get away there's one thing that I will never get away from, and that's playoff hockey. That's just, there's something so special about watching the best players in the world, and quite frankly, at every level. The amount of sacrifice at that time of the year is just, to me, it's amazing to watch. And you sit there and you want to replicate it at our level. You want to replicate it at the NHL level for 82 games and 60 for us, but it just doesn't happen.
I feel like we saw that in spades last year, especially the games here at home.
Yeah, sure. I mean, once you get to that point where your season's on the line, then it's a different story. I mean, you like we talked last year, I think we were playing playoff hockey for almost 2 months. So, that's the reason why I think you see that. And, I think only certain teams can do that. And I think our team last year at the right time was a special hockey team.
Might be a good time to start this year, too, as the second half gets underway. 4 with North Iowa, 5 with Aberdeen, 4 with St. Cloud. A wonky schedule, but you'll be seeing only 3 teams over the next month and a half, a span of 13 games, beginning with North Iowa. Just saw Minot 4 consecutive times, 3 of them last week. Final scores of 4-3, 4-3, and then Unseen Hands 7, Bobcats 5 on New Year's Eve. 3 very tough games, 1 bad first period, 1 bad third period, then 1 bad showing by the team in stripes. And really, an 0-3 week became really close to 3-0 if you turn around really 3 things, and one of them's out of your control.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some good, and there was obviously some bad. I think the bad part is obviously almost every goal we gave up was somebody standing around our net, and one of our guys right next to him, and we're just not doing a good job defending our house. And I felt like before break we were decent at that, but for whatever it's worth after break, it's non-existent. And I mean, from our forward group back to our decor, guys that have typically been good at it, we're not. And to me, it's the big reason why we can't find ways to win games right now.
Is that something that just needs a reset in practice?
That's what we're working on. I mean, that's the only thing there is to do. We'll just keep hammering on it. We showed extra film this morning on it, and I think that's what we did last year. And I think that's how you got to try and create those situations in practice to get better, because the reality is, if you don't do that, you keep making the same mistakes and they keep costing you games. And I think that's the only real answer is making sure we're touching on all our systems. And at the end of the day, I think our work ethic and our compete has to be better. But the one thing that really sticks out to me is just flat out defending in our own zone. I mean, every goal we gave up, it just seemed like we either got beat back to the net or we were just standing by a Minot guy, and we didn't have the guy. And he taps in a rebound, or we have, guys just in the right area. But you can't just be in the right area. You have to have the guy in front. You have to have his stick. You can't allow him to get a play on the puck.
It's so easy to just revert to puck watching, isn't it? And that's what leads to so many goals.
That's what everybody does, unfortunately.
Have you had to get creative in practice this week with only 1 goalie and obviously making drills for that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part of this week, right? Like, so you look at it and, you want to do a lot of 5-on-5 scenarios, but, I mean, basically we've been half ice, all week. So going forward, it'll be nice to have 2 goalies, that's for sure, and able to, we've spent a lot of time on our D zone and our neutral zone, and our forecheck hasn't been great. Definitely not the reason why we're losing games. We've scored goals, and we've scored enough goals to win games. So that is kind of, I don't want it to say in the wrong way that we didn't work on that, because to me that's just not our major concern right now. I think our neutral zone, we haven't changed it, and for some reason we fell asleep on it. We haven't changed our D zone, and, for some reason we fell asleep on it. Now, you can say that, going forward, we need to work on those things. That's great. When you come back for 2 days and skate for 2 days and play 3-3, it's kind of hard to, those are effort days. Those are days that, you expect to get a lot out of your guys, and those are the way I look at it is you hope they took care of themselves over break, and you kind of roll your cards, and you hope that, obviously our D zone wasn't as bad as it was 10 days ago as it was this week, but not the case. So we move forward.
That's a big thing, isn't it? Guys, whether it's stretching every day or doing workouts every day, when they're at home for a week plus, they come back only 2 days of practice, as you said, before playing 3 games. It could take that week, which unfortunately was a 6-point week, to get everyone back into shape and on the same page.
Yeah, and the tough part is we sit here today, and obviously we're still in a reasonable spot to make the playoffs, but who knows? That week could cost you not making the playoffs. But that's, to me, that's here nor there. I think everybody's in the same situation. I think the big part is making sure that you're taking care of yourself, and only you knows what you did over the break and were you on the ice. I don't think you can just stretch when you're at home and not take care of your body. And these guys play at a high level, and I just think you have to be on the ice. You have to be doing things, and sure, you want kids to get away from it. The season's 7-8 months. It's a long grind. There's nothing more needed leading up to the second half of the season. The only thing is, when you look at ours, we hadn't played, and then we play 1 game. So, kind of looking back on it, I don't think our bye week was in a great spot. I think it kind of left us where we were, kind of in a lull, and then we play 1 game, and then we have Christmas break. So, yeah, I think you see that this week when, we work hard, and I almost feel like guys are a little more gassed than they were, when we were mid-stride, probably game 20, game 25. So, I think this week is good. It gets us back into our routine, our structure, leading into the weekend.
And that's where the personal responsibility really shows itself out. Can the locker room get all the guys to make sure they commit to getting better when they're not on the ice or not playing during the 2 bye weeks? Worked pretty well 2 weeks ago. Not the case this past week, although the offense certainly was there, and some parts of the game were there too. How important is it now, and we talked about this all throughout last year during those dark times when the Bobcats were not good for the first 3-4 months, how important is it now to find those 2-3 people, whether they're veterans or not, in the locker room that will be the guys that people can rally around and always keep the mood light?
Well, I think not only that, but step up, in my opinion, Corey. That's the kicker. You look at, a guy you're going to talk to and a guy that just got here. 2 guys that, I joke about it, and, I started on Saturday night. I went down to Cal after his second goal. I said, nice goal, Quinn.
I was going to ask you about Ruddy too, but go on.
It's just, he's a guy that didn't have a goal in his first 19 games, and now he's got 9 in his last 10, and they're just eerily similar, and so many outside factors that you're worrying about, and I understand it. I tell our guys every time they show up, they report, you're here for one thing, and that's to get a college scholarship. But we have to figure out how to play as a team. We have to figure out how to win and lose as a team, and that is something that I will ask out of every team that I coach. I will never take away that the fact that they're here is to get a college scholarship, and quite frankly, that's why they're here. That's what they are after, but we have to find a way to play a team game. So I think, to your question, I think, who's going to step up with Cal and veteran guys that really, led our team last year, and looking at, like a Ryan Taylor, a Quinn Rudrud, a Brady Egan, a Ben Trombley, an Owen Michaels, the list kind of goes on and on. Those guys aren't here. So Jake McLean was a part of that, our leading scorer. So those guys, they have to step up in order for us to obviously string together a run or, start moving up the standings.
Every team in this league that goes on to win the division or win the Robertson Cup, it would seem, especially in the Central, has that big name scorer. St. Cloud had 15 of them last year, but Ryan O'Neill was the name that comes to mind. Aberdeen had so many as well, whether it's Matsui or whoever you want to put on their team. Obviously a great goaltender. It seems like getting someone like McLean back could place himself as, even though he's not a goal scorer, more of a playmaker, that guy, that big guy this team was looking for the first 30 games.
Well, we need somebody to score, because you said it. I think he's a pass-first guy. And
he doesn't like hearing that.
Well, I mean, that's just to me. Do I wish he should shoot the puck more? Sure. But somebody on his line is going to have to score goals because he's going to find them, and that's just his hockey IQ. And I think you see that, like even today on our on a power play, we got a few different units and we got a little bit of time to work on it. So I would be, licking my chops to play on his line and just understand that my stick needs to be on the ice and he's going to find me. That's what I think he. Right out of the chutes, when I think of getting him back, that's what I think of. Obviously, he can get up and down the sheet, he can skate. He's got other attributes that make him a really good player, but not really a, kind of similar to, I would say, Verte. And it seems like they're always looking for the pass, and I think that's something that again, those guys need to shoot more. And when the guy's wide open, they know that. So they still have to make those plays. But I think taking more shots, and obviously he hits the crossbar. He should have scored the first goal on Saturday night. I think the goals will come if that happens.
Here with Layne Sedevie on the Bobcats Coaches Show. Bobcats in North Iowa this week, in Iowa, and at home next week, 13th and 14th of January. Speaking of Cal, I mean, you called him Quinn Rudrud II. Ruddy last year had 1 goal in his first 12 games out of 60. Then scored 29 in his last 48. 30-goal scorer, 4th time you've ever had a 30-goal scorer. Calvin Hanson, no goals, plenty of assists, but no goals in his first 19. 9 goals in his last 10 games. He had 5 goals over the week. Didn't get first star of the week, I don't know how. 5 goals this past week. Did you have a similar conversation with Cal as you did with Ruddy last year?
I should have just recorded Quinn's and just played it.
Might as well, right? It's the same with Verity, too, maybe, at this point.
It's the same thing every year. I mean, they're so worried about getting a spot at school. And to me, the only thing that stops them from getting that is when a player obviously has the attributes to play at that level is themselves. And it's between the ears. And it's very hard to get that out of sight, out of mind. But it's exactly the same conversations I've had with Cal. And, they get a lot of pressure, from parents and everybody. And, their peers are committing and all this sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, the only thing they control is how they play. And that's the only thing that matters. Obviously, team success is part of it. But doing everything you can do, controlling what you can control, and, to me, Cal has done exactly what he needs to do. The kicker is he can't stop. Whether he produces at a 2-goal a game night every night, probably not going to happen. But he's still got to be around it. He's still got to doing the things that are putting him in the position to have success. And the reason why he's having success now, it cannot change.
I think of if you combine all 5 goals he scored over Minot this past week, the puck was on his stick for maybe 1 full second.
But where was he?
At the front of the net.
That's right. You want to score goals, and that's exactly what we went over on film this morning, showing our D-zone clips and then obviously showing clips where we've had success. Cal, on his second goal, was the only guy in front of Minot's net. There was nobody around him. And that is where, in our D-zone, can't happen. Because when it happens, guess what? Puck ends up in the back of the net, either for us or against us. And those are the areas of concern. So for me, I went over them with this morning. Guys sit down with guys at the NHL level, and we have the AI now. But you look at like your heat map and where your shots are from and all this sort of stuff. And when guys are struggling at that level, everything's to the outside of the ice. Well, now if you take Cal's heat map and his goal scored, I mean, it's boom, 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 right where you need to be if you want to score on a good goalie in a good league at a high level.
You know what the thing is, too? To your point on showing what you can't do in your D-zone, leaving the guy wide open. Minot's coach is looking at that goal saying, we can't do this. We can't leave Cal wide open. So it does go both ways, too.
100%. I mean, it's the exact reason why, it is 100% the reason why we lost games. And it's 100% the reason why we got back into games. So on both sides, if they're doing their job, which they are, they're showing the exact same clips on guys like, how does this happen? How do we have, I don't care what system you run in the D zone. I can tell you, if you're running a system where you allow the opponent to stand net front without a net front D, you're not going to win many games.
By the way, last Bobcat to score at least 9 goals in 10 games, Ryan Taylor in the 2020-21 season, one of your best players ever. One of the things I heard you use a lot in practice these last few days was the middle of the ice. We have to control the middle of the ice. And, of course, it comes as no surprise to bring up the heat map. How important, and a dumb question for you, but how important is controlling the middle?
Well, I mean, it's where, the guy on the outside doesn't hurt you. I mean, I would say you could go into really high numbers and not just say 99 out of 100, but the guy standing on the wall's not scoring the goal. He might get the puck to the area that is going to score the goal, but that's, to me, where we're just not protecting the middle of the ice. And not only on our neutral zone, we're leaving the middle of the ice. And when you hit the middle of the ice, if you have good center support, you just have so much speed and you can attack those D. And you have options. When you get the puck, if it goes D to D, and even if you run a hinge play and it goes to the outside of the ice, it's so much easier to defend. Those are areas where you want to defend. If you look at even a power play, the hardest area to defend, it's always the middle of the ice. And it's no different in the neutral zone, no different in our D zone. So, I think to me, when I look at the goals we're giving up and I look at our coverages that have, we're missing, we have to just do a better job of knowing where our guy is, and we have to have that guy. We have to protect the middle of the ice. Doesn't matter if it's in our D zone or the neutral zone, because, like I said, I'm not taking away that, our forecheck is still going to need work and all this sort of stuff, but our major area concerns are not allowing transition through the middle of the ice and protecting the middle of the ice in our D zone.
No better team to practice transition against than North Iowa. That's how they score all their goals, too.
Yeah, they want to run and gun. They have, and we have to be disciplined. I mean, that's, to me, I think one of the biggest things is just executing our systems, getting back to, I don't care how many goals we score, Corey. I really don't. And, I'd like to see this team start winning games 2-1, 3-2. Really understanding what we're trying to do. I mean, because it doesn't matter what you run as far as systems. If you're not executing, if you have breakdowns, you're going to give up goals. So to me, that's the focus. It's going to remain the focus. I think we're still going to score goals. We have talent, but our defending and our commitment to sticking to a system and running a system right now, at least in that 3-game span, was not there.
So you'd like to not only match North Iowa's transition game, but take them out of it and set up in the offensive zone, take them out of transition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Quite frankly, I don't want to get in a run and gun. We want to push the pace. I think we want to use our speed. Sure, that's something that you're trying to play with pace. But I don't want that to go into turnovers at their blue line, not taking care of the puck and allowing it to come right back down. Because then all you're doing is you're not defending 200 feet, but you're defending 160.
All right, North Iowa coming up. We're gonna have to go back to DVDs on this new bus lane. Do you have any DVDs?
I gotta look.
I know you asked all the billet moms and dads for DVDs.
Yep. So I think it's probably a little out of date. Until the smart guy sitting to my right or your left on the screen can figure out how to get the old flash drive.
We're looking next week. Me and Laz are going to go.
We'll stick the old DVDs and enjoy a 10-hour bus ride.
I know you love traveling, Layne.
I don't know how to answer that one, Corey. The older I get, the more I dislike it. But I will say this: I think it's something this team needs. I think we need you look for ways for team bonding and building, and we're in a low rate now, and to me, nothing better of the timing of this to spend some time with your team on the road and figure out a way. And really problem solve what we need to do to find a way to win games.
Yeah, the yin-yang is the trade-off. You don't get to play at home, and, Bobcats think of playing in Bismarck as a privilege, and playing at our rink for 28 games certainly is. But we saw travel last year, I think, turn a disjointed team, a group of guys, into a true team. We had trips early, too, last year. We didn't this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't been to Austin.
Nope.
We've only been to North Iowa one time.
And St. Cloud once.
But that's
not since November.
That's a day trip. You're not spending that quality time, whether you like buses or not. I truly believe there's something to be said. Camaraderie. Just being a team. Sitting down and actually not having that day where you go and you're playing and you don't have the the movies going on and guys chirping each other and having fun. I think that's what builds character, and that's how teams come together. So I think this trip is at a great time. I think it's a challenge. We have to go there. We have to win the weekend. We have to do all that sort of stuff. But I like the fact that we're going on the road, and I think it's a good thing.
You've brought this up before, and also Scott Langer, hearing the Aberdeen coaches shows from time to time, brings this up, of having like a light switch you flip on in your brain. For him, it's like getting dressed for a game when you're on the road. You flip the light switch on, all right, it's game time. For you, it's getting on the bus. And when we travel to St. Cloud the day of the game, it can be hard to focus on the game. But with a Thursday travel day, you can take your mind off the game for a Thursday. Then when you wake up on Friday, you have your team stretch and so on. All right, time to go.
Yeah, for me, it's game day. I've always been, coached that way, and I think it's very true. But that's the nice part about tomorrow. You get to have your fun. You get to relax. You just get to be yourself. And to me, that's where I like this trip and everything involved around it. To me, this is an actual, if you want to call it a team bonding trip where you're on the bus for 10 hours and you're not going to St. Cloud 5.5 hours and playing that night. I mean, it's just, to me, it's very different. I look at Austin the same way. You have that day where you don't have to worry about what you're doing that night. You can just enjoy your team, and likewise the teammates can enjoy each other.
We're also staying at the Ritz, too. We're pretty close to it for this league standards.
Yeah, I mean, North Iowa does a very, very nice job. I think everything they do there, I don't know if Steve or anybody in that organization listens to what's going on, but I think they do a very nice job, so kudos to them.
All right, Layne Sedevie, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, Bobcat players coming up in a moment on the Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. And welcome back to the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Bobcats getting set for a North Iowa road trip. Our next home games are against North Iowa, January 13th and 14th. That is the week after this one at the VFW in Bismarck. A familiar name and voice you'll hear coming up. It's second-year Bobcat Jake McLean. How are you, Mac?
Good, Corey. How are you?
Not too bad. Good to see you again, first of all. I never thought you'd come back.
Yeah, good to be back. Good to be back. Feels really nice to be in front of the camera with you.
So as far as you're concerned, World Juniors have not dropped the puck yet for U.S. versus Canada, but I know you, a Canadian, have been invested in World Juniors for a while, especially a kid from your hometown named Connor Bedard.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a pretty fun guy to watch. But yeah, that tournament means a lot to a lot of people back home, back in Canada. And I know me and Mikey are a little outnumbered, but I'm sure we'll cheer twice as hard.
Is that something that every Canadian just watches every year like it's religion?
Yeah. Even people who don't watch hockey, it's a huge thing. The fame that comes with that tournament is pretty insane. It's something that every kid in Canada dreams of playing in, and it's just fun to watch every year.
Have you ever gone to a tournament?
Yeah, it was in Vancouver. I'd like to say 2018, and I went to the Canada quarterfinal game, but they did lose, so that was a tough one to soak.
Winner will play Czech Republic, by the way, in the finals this weekend. You did something I don't think anyone's ever done before, at least that I've seen from a Bobcat. You scored a goal that was called for a kicking motion where you weren't even looking at the puck last weekend.
Yeah, I was driving the net, and I was getting ready for the rebound, but then right before the puck hit the goalie, it hit the defenseman's stick and then hit my skate. And so, yeah, they said it went on. I kicked it in. I mean, I was pretty surprised with the call, but yeah, there was a couple bounces that didn't go our way, but I think that was something that we had to kind of get through and keep pushing, because those are the kind of calls you're going to get down the stretch that aren't going to go your way, that you have to kind of respond to.
Either way, you still had 2 assists in your first 3 games back. Pretty wild weekend for you, wasn't it? I mean, you get back literally on Thursday morning when we have a game that night. You drive 10 hours from Iowa to Bismarck, going back to Iowa this week too. Drive in, get to Bismarck at like 9 in the morning. You play at 7 o'clock at night. Did you have bus legs at all?
Oh yeah, and I had bus legs. I had I think that one night I think I had 2 hours of sleep before. So I definitely feel a lot better going into this weekend. I kind of got my feet under me, got to get into some practices with the guys and kind of get familiar with some of the new guys on the team, a lot of new faces. So yeah, it was a whirlwind of a weekend. It was a long weekend physically and mentally for me, but I'm really glad to be back.
Is that first couple games, that first week, just all about hockey sense, not learning structure just yet?
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, going off of what I know, like I'm pretty familiar with the coaching staff, and they have a good amount of trust in me and me as a player, and in learning the systems that were already there. But then there's obviously new stuff every year. So, yeah, like you said, I think it's a lot more hockey sense at that point than it is X's and O's. It's kind of going out there playing and just competing.
What was it like driving overnight? It had to have felt like Brad for a bit there.
Yeah, we were driving on the same roads as what Brad usually drives too. So yeah, it was a pretty long drive. I was and I knew that we had that game the next day, so I was kind of pushing the pace a little bit. I had to hit the gas a little bit, but no, it feels a lot better to be home and be here, just to not have to drive, which is nice.
Is your car in kilometers? Do you have to like constantly translate it?
I got like an inner ring, like the outer ring is kilometers.
Oh, yeah.
The inner ring is miles, so I'm always looking at the middle ring. I kind of got used to it. I was in Waterloo, so I got a couple months under my belt, but no tickets yet. So.
And being in Waterloo in the USHL, you had 9 points in 20 games. What's it like not only being in the USHL for half the year, but what can you take back to the Bobcats now?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's hockey. It's hockey wherever you go. I mean, obviously, there's some really good players, and it's a fast league. It's a good league. I mean, I think I was pretty happy with what I did when I was there, though, too. So it was. I think it's coming back with some confidence. Like it's a familiar place here. I mean, I'm very familiar and very comfortable playing here and getting ready to go to school. So it's coming back here with some confidence, and also as a 20-year-old, bringing some leadership and it's not my first year here, so I can kind of use my voice a bit more.
You had to have seen guys like Owen Michaels in Dubuque from time to time, right?
Yeah, I played Mike's I think twice when I was there, and played AVR a couple times as well. So it was good to see those guys.
So would you guys like chat at the red line in the warm-ups, or what would you do?
Definitely with AVR for sure.
Yeah.
Mike's was kind of like a, hey, how you doing? And then AVR was kind of a every second shift talking to me, so as to be expected.
Yeah, Mike just goes about his business pretty much.
Oh yeah, he's one of those guys where you love to have him on your team, and then you kind of forget what it's like when he's not on your team, and you hate to play against him. But he's a great player, and congrats to him for coming into Western Michigan a couple weeks ago too.
Oh, for sure. UMass, now Western Michigan, good for him. As far as the state of Iowa is concerned, anything that you've come to like about it since we're going back there this week?
Yeah, it was a lot of cornfields, a lot of corn. So, no, it was good. It's Waterloo was a pretty good place to live. It was pretty similar to Bismarck, I think, like city-wise. So, there was enough to do, and but at the end of the day, it's more just about the hockey and taking care of your business.
Favorite part about being back?
I don't want to give him too much credit, but it's been fun to live back with Newmeyer again. He's one of my best friends. We talk all the time, so it's been really fun to be back at the house with him and kind of chat it up with him this year.
You guys were two peas in a pod last year, inseparable.
Yeah, we're pretty good buddies. As soon as he moved in last year, we kind of just started to do everything together, and it's kind of the same this year. So, yeah, he's a really good buddy of mine.
So when you see him making just ridiculous plays at the blue line, he does it every single weekend. What are you thinking when you're on the ice or on the bench just seeing that?
Well, when I'm on the ice, I want him to give me the puck. But when I'm on the bench, no, he makes guys miss, and he's a pretty skilled and offensively minded D-man, which, I mean, those don't come around that often. I mean, I think he's a pretty special player, and no surprise to see him get his deal done this year too.
Have you gotten your number figured out? You're currently a nameless 26, Tails' old number. You were 9 last year. Now it's Reller. What are you doing?
I think I'm gonna stick with 26. I'll get a nameplate on it, and I'll try and continue what Tails did last year and adopt the number at the halfway mark.
You were 12 in Waterloo, right?
I was 12. Yes.
So you could take Nolan Nenow's number. He is a rookie after all. He'd have to give it to you.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to, I could maybe pull the card on him, but I mean, I don't really want to. It's kind of coming back here. Everyone's got their numbers. It's more of me just. It's a number at the end of the day. So it's as long as I put a couple in the back of the net, I won't be too upset.
Given that you have the experience of being a part of the second half of last year's amazing run,
yeah,
you're at that point this year. We have 11 wins. Last year you had 9 at this point, so it's a pretty similar spot. What can you bring to this team?
I think the same thing I kind of brought last year. I think I'm not trying to do too much or change anything. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna try and do my part. It's a team game, and it's one of those things we kind of, last year we had everybody going at the right time, and it's just about kind of finding that balance. And we have a couple guys in the room who did it last year who are comfortable being in those positions. Is just kind of like bringing those other guys along with us. I think it's a pretty good team talent-wise. It's more finding that consistency and knowing that we play in division games. It's really easy to get behind, but it's also easier to jump ahead because you play everybody in your division. So it's going to be important to get some sweeps down the stretch, and yeah.
All right, Jake McLean, thanks so much.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, Calvin Hanson joins us on the Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270 in just a moment. And welcome back on the Bobcats Coaches Show here on Super Talk 1270. Currently USA 1, Canada nothing. 2 minutes in. Got it on every TV here. Jake McLean can't believe it. Calvin Hanson's joining us here on the Bobcats Coaches Show. I'm sure you're happy about that 1-0 lead for the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Good start for the boys.
So when you were growing up on the farm in Minnesota, was the World Juniors a part of your hockey viewing every year?
Yeah. I actually loved watching the World Juniors. They actually came. There was like an under-18 tournament in Grand Forks one time, and I went to it, and it was amazing to watch all those guys. There was like Clayton Keller, Kiefer Bellows, and all those guys that year, and it was awesome to go watch it in person.
What'd you do for Christmas?
I just went home, saw family and friends, hung out. It was kind of stormy, not going to lie. Winter, middle of winter, so couldn't do a whole lot, but got on the ice a little bit with some old buddies, and that was fun too. So
you were able to skate pretty much the whole time whenever you wanted to, right, and keep working out?
Yeah, our rink is open pretty much 24/7. You can always get in one of the doors at least. Just got to check the schedules, make sure nothing's scheduled, and if there's open ice, it's free for anyone. So
do you have to zam it?
Yeah, I don't do it, but like they have a guy that does it, obviously. Yeah.
Back when Paul Hughlin was here, he was saying yes to zam the ice in Roseau when he wants to go on.
Really? That's crazy.
He said he knows how to do it.
I have not ran a Zamboni yet in my life, I guess. So.
All right. Well, you are the hottest Bobcat right now. 9 goals over your last 10 games. We heard Layne Sedevie calling you Quinn Rudroot on the bench. Do you kind of feel like you're going through the same thing Ruddy was last year?
Yeah, it was a kind of a good learning experience for me last year, watching some of the older guys go through their last year, and now me being in my last year, just putting myself in their shoes and seeing exactly what it feels like. And it's definitely different when you realize Layne told me, like, hey, you got 30 some games left or whatever. Now it's probably less than that. I don't even know. Of your junior hockey career, you got to take advantage of every game, every minute, every period, So, yeah, I think I can see myself in Ruddy's shoes.
Did something click when you were in North Iowa a month ago and you finally got that first goal?
Yeah, I guess I was just I wasn't really trying to think about it. I was just trying to play hockey, play the way that I know I can play, and I got a lucky bounce off the glass to get the first one and just went from there.
Was there a confidence boost at all, or just you being you?
Yeah, for sure, you're just ripping the monkey off. But, after I got the first one, you just can't look back. The past is in the past. You just got to look at the present, and just go from there.
You had 5 goals in 3 games against Minot. 1 goal on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. Did you have a favorite goal out of those 5?
I don't know about favorite. I love scoring goals. There's no better feeling in hockey, in my opinion. Maybe winning a championship, but as an individual, scoring a goal is pretty awesome. But if I had to pick one, maybe the one that Holte gave me in the slot in the Saturday night's game. That was pretty fun. I was just flying down the middle, and Holte put it on my tape. It was good. It was a good one.
Layne brought this up. I mean, the puck was on and off your stick right away on every goal, and you were 5 feet on top of the goal crease every single time, too.
Yeah, and I think Layne's talked about that. If we want to score goals, we got to go to the net. We got to be a net front presence and just do that. So I think I'm going to try and continue to do that, and hopefully it works out.
How hard is it to be that net front guy when you're taking abuse out there?
Yeah, it can be hard, and I'm not the biggest guy out there either, but, sometimes you got to – it's not about how much you can give, it's about how much you can take sometimes. So I think that's a huge part for me.
Second half coming up. You mentioned Layne saying you only have 30 or so games left, 31 officially left. We were in this position last year. You were a rookie last year when this team was in last place on New Year's Eve. Same place here, although this team is certainly a better record, better equipped, you would think, to make a run with the guys they have, the veterans they have. Can you see yourself as that leader that Layne is looking to get the ship in the right direction?
Yeah, we got some young guys on our team, and me being one of those guys last year, I definitely looked up to the older guys at the second half of the year when we needed a playoff push, and I think they're gonna do the same thing. So I think I got to be responsible and take that upon myself to be a leader and try and help out the team as much as we can, in the second half.
What do you think it's going to take to make that run?
I think it's just getting everyone on the same page, just getting everyone to be 2 feet in and just go balls to the walls, I guess.
Starting with North Iowa this week, team that loves transition. Layne does not like transition. He wants a structure. How do you slow the game down?
Yeah, I think it just starts in the D zone, honestly. We got to be good in all 3 zones, but it starts in the D zone. Once we get good in the D zone, it'll lead into rushes through the neutral zone and then into our offensive forecheck. And I think, Layne's really emphasizing the D zone right now. And I think he's right. I think we got to work on that. I think we need to play better man-on-man, pick up sticks in front of the net, box out and keep stuff on the perimeter. So I think start in the D zone, and then also another thing that I think is good too is the best defense is offense. So once we get in the O zone, we need to have that good pressure, that good O zone presence, and go from there.
All right, sounds good. 9-0 shots for the U.S., by the way.
Yeah, I see that.
All right, Calvin Hanson, thank you. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
All right, Hunter Laslo wraps up the Bobcats Coaches Show in a moment on Super Talk 1270. Welcome back to the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Hey, really quick before we get to Hunter Laslo, next Saturday, January 14th, is your second of 4 chances to win $1 million home at a Bobcats game. One lucky fan at next Saturday's game against North Iowa could have a chance to shoot a puck from the neutral zone at the second intermission and win a $1 million home if they score. Our sponsors, Interiors by Design, Knife River Corporation, Paramount Builders, and Front Street Millwork and Lumber, helping put on that event for the second straight year. Still 1-0 U.S., but they're killing a penalty. Hunter Laslo joining us, Bobcats Coaches Show. How are you?
I'm good, Corey. How are you?
Not bad. Was the World Juniors a part of your hockey viewing when you were younger every year?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's at least obviously some kids have dreams of playing it. I had that dream, but pretty quickly realized that would never come true. But yeah, it's definitely something that I look forward to every time this time of year rolls around. To watch the best players in the world duel it off for their country, it's definitely an exciting tournament.
You were stressing over your Secret Santa. Have you found a resolution?
Yes, I did. Had a good day at Shields, which is a really good store for, I guess, some last minute Secret Santa shopping.
Yeah, Layne said he wasn't sure either what he was going to get. Maybe not a signed Marner or Matthews jersey, whatever it was last year. Maybe not that big name gift again this year for him.
Yeah, I don't know. After last year, I felt a little embarrassed. I guess on the amount of money I spent on mine. I did more of a gag gift. I guess maybe put a little bit more thought into it for the kid. But Layne, outdid me for sure and everyone else with that jersey. So I had to make sure that I did something a little better this year to not make myself look bad. So, excited for that tomorrow morning.
Tough week of practice for you guys, trying to get your team back in the winning groove with No bye weeks for the rest of the year. That's a good thing for this group, you would think. A regular 4 days of practice for you guys. Only one goaltender, though. Have you worked around that?
I mean, you just gotta make do with what you have. Honestly, we needed to kind of slow things down a little bit, go through our systems again, make sure everyone's on the same page. I didn't think this past weekend was because of necessary lack of effort. We were in some decent spots in our own end, but we just weren't under guys and hard enough in front of our net. We gave up the middle of the ice way too many times, and if you even watch on the flip side, if you watch Cal's goals that he scored over the last 3 games here, other than the one where he chips it in from Dahl and scores off the post right after we got scored on, all of his goals come from the front of the net, and that's where Colby Joseph's goal came from, and that's where a lot of their goals came from, right on top of our crease, where we have guys in the right spot, but we're just not under sticks, not being hard enough, and mismanaged some pucks. So that's what it comes down to in a tight game like that, where, yeah, it's high scoring, but it's back and forth, and we just didn't do a good enough job of that over the course of the weekend. And I broke down all 3 games from last weekend, and we showed those clips from our D zone, neutral zone, and forward check to the guys this morning, and I think it went well. I think everybody understands, obviously, our mistakes that we made and what we need to do to improve and be better. We obviously have a big weekend coming up here in North Iowa for some much-needed points.
That middle of the ice that you talked about, Layne talked about, it's been an emphasis all week. So hard to get to, but also so hard to defend as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be hard in front of your net. That's from when these kids first started playing, and myself as well. My coaches always taught me to drive through inside the posts. That's where you want to finish every play, is stopping on the top of the crease for any opportunity or second chance you can get, and that's where every team's going to go. It's really hard to score at this level, and as a higher level as you climb into college, where obviously all these kids want to play Division I level. It's hard to score goals from the perimeter. Goalies are good. It's really difficult to pick your spot from on the outside, but it's a lot easier when you improve your angle from 10 to 15 feet outside that crease from the middle of the ice. So we just need to do a better job at that. Like I said, if you go back and watch all our goals against, we get beat out of the corner a couple times where we have no chance to recover, but a lot of the other times we're standing right there. We're hip to hip with that guy, but we're puck watching, which was a common theme in our D zone. We got caught puck watching too many times and just leaving guys open. And all it takes is 1 second where we're puck watching and get caught flat-footed, where that puck can come out from behind the net or from the half wall or from the point, and it's in the back of your net pretty quick. And I thought Hunter Garvey made some pretty big saves for us multiple times in pretty much every game over the course of our weekend. And I don't fault him one bit for our lack of points. I thought he was pretty good, but we need to help him out. We can't be giving up 10, 15 grade A chances within a 10-foot circle of our net every game. And so we've addressed those things. We had a hard week of practice, obviously fine-tuning some things and making the adjustments that we need. So when we hop off the bus in North Iowa, that we're ready to compete and be hard and protect the front of our net and keep them to the perimeter and get the points that we need.
Do you have any DVDs? I sure don't.
Personally, I do not. I went in our old bus and picked up the ones that were left in there. There wasn't many, so I hit Walmart, and I know they got a bin in there. It's like $3 movies or $5 movies or something like that. I got a couple movies that had 4. It's a 4-pack in the box, so we have probably 15, 20 movies now that we should be able to kill some time on the road.
All right, 10 hours to North Iowa, 10 hours back, and we'll do it all over again pretty soon for St. Cloud. All right, Laz, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, that's all for the Bobcats Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Bobcats' next home games are Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th. Bismarck versus North Iowa, 7:15 puck drops at the VFW in Bismarck. BismarckBobcats.com for tickets, or call the Bobcat office at 222-3300 during office hours during the week. Our next Bobcat broadcasts on Super Talk 1270 are this Friday and Saturday, January 6th and 7th. 7 o'clock coverage, 7:10 puck drop in Mason City, Iowa for the Bobcats and Bulls. Big road weekend. Don't want to miss it. Make sure you tune in and then come out to the VFW next week. Next Bobcat Coaches Show is Wednesday at 5 from the Tap-In Tavern, and every week right here on the home of the Bobcats, Super Talk 1270.